Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Illustration Department podcast. My name is Giuseppe Castellano. In this podcast, I talk to folks in illustration, graphic design, publishing, animation, and other creative fields about their work, the lessons they've learned, and the bumps and bruises they've experienced along the way. In this episode, my guest is illustrator and artist Rafael López. In times of strife and struggle, it can be a challenge to make art. So what do? The answer lies in fun and community. Among other topics, Rafael explains how illustrators can approach color fearlessly. We discuss why fun, community, and discipline really are a creator's holy trinity. And Rafael shares what it means to give all children the stories they deserve. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Yeah, you sound outstanding.
Oh, great.
Nailed the crap out of it.
It's my morning voice. Actually, it gets deeper as you go earlier. Good morning. So I'm glad this is not too early in the morning.
Oh, man. I did a podcast once with, I believe it was with Rebecca Green. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was with Rebecca where it was in the morning for me. And I just was like, my voice is real low.
Really low.
Interestingly enough, that episode is the only episode in which I've ever received negative
No
reviews.
way. Seriously. Yeah. Oh my God.
Learn my lesson. Funny. I will never record a podcast that early in the morning ever again.
I've done some morning recordings, and my voice sounds so different than what you hear now. And people tell me, "Is that really you, or were you faking it?" I go, "No, that's really my morning voice." And then if I go to the gym, there's something about going to the gym and working out, and then I come back talking like this. I was like, "What happened?" So I decided not to do that this time. I said, "Do not go to the gym this morning." Yeah.
All right. Well,
so I'm assuming you're gonna also edit some of this.
1,000,000%.
I have a tendency to smack my lips once in a while, and that probably is. Yeah. Many people do that, I guess. Huh? I don't know.
I wonder if it's. I mean, I'm not Mexican, but I am the son of Italian immigrants, and there is a lot of the
smacking. I noticed that when I hear my recordings, it's like that is so obvious, and I'm not even aware of it.
By the way,
okay,
I take them out.
Good.
Sometimes it's hard to. It's weird how you learn more about language, which we'll talk about later. When you're editing, because obviously you're listening very intently, and so I'll take out a lip smack, and it doesn't sound the same. Like you have to keep it in because if you take it out, it just feels really weird.
Okay.
So,
well, you'll let me know because I'm sure that I'm going to do it without me being aware of it. And if I go a little too long, just let me know. This is okay. That's enough, buddy. Come on. We don't need to know this much about you. All right.
Rafael, and this is something too that I was also listening to some episodes that you had done with other folks and other interviews and things like that and videos and whatever. I heard you say I forgot where it was, but you were talking about the difference between Rafael. Like people pronounce my name any which way they want. Yeah. And I don't ever get bothered by it.
Yeah. Me neither.
It's also the intention. Like if they're saying it in a mean way, then I'm going to get bothered by it. But that's not the case.
The thing that cracks me up, there's a few friends of mine that call me Ralph. And I go, no, I'm not Ralph. I'm Rafael.
I'm out.
I just, 2 days ago, I did a presentation out here at the University of San Diego. And the lady called me, he goes, "Hey, Raf. R-A-F is totally fine with me, And he says, "Would you prefer Rafael or Raf?" I go, "I don't care. Either one is fine." I said, "But you know what? In Mexico, we all get a nickname. And my nickname in Mexico is Ronco, which means low voice. Because as a baby, I used to cry, not like a baby, but more like a goat or a lamb. And then they go, "Oh my God, what's wrong with a baby?" So it stuck. All my family calls me Ronco. Nobody calls me Rafa. Rafael is Ronco. So, you never know.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is pretty weird, isn't it?
Yeah. My family calls me Pino.
Really? What does that mean?
Not Giuseppe. It just means little Giuseppe.
Oh, really?
Giuseppino.
Pequelino, huh?
Yeah,
that's
exactly. So cool. It's exactly right. It doesn't mean anything other than, it does mean pine if we're being literal about things in Italian, which is interestingly.
So Italian people are into nicknames as well as like in Mexico, I guess, right? There you go.
Oh my God. We could talk for an hour about that.
People always try to, they get tortured like months thinking of the perfect baby name. I go, listen, he's going to look like something and they're going to nickname him from the very beginning. So forget the name, he'll be known by, hey, I have a former family member. We just call him Goose because he looked like a goose. We never call him by his name. I don't even remember his name. For me, it was Goose. Yeah. So there you go. You never know.
My nickname among my cousins who were kind of saying it in a mocking way, but if you grow up in an Italian household, there's a lot of like jabbing and, goofing and joshing and some teasing, whatever. They would call me professore. Hey, professore, because I was the only one going to college. Everyone else was not.
Buongiorno, professore.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is hilarious. I'm not sure. I'm assuming you speak Italian pretty fluent.
A little bit. A little pretty bit? Good. Yeah. I say a little bit, and my wife is downstairs. I can already hear her roll her eyes. I definitely do. I say a little bit because it's a confidence thing, but yes, I do.
Yeah, I can fake it too. I go, vuol entrare per la finestra e cantare.
Hey, hello.
Hello. Okay, there you go. That's as far as I can go.
And you don't need to, as long as you say it with confidence.
That's it. Yeah. Especially when you order something in Italy and then they bring you something you never really meant to. It's like, oh my God, did I order a boar's head? So
I was talking to somebody today, an illustrator who is Mexican, and we were talking about this very thing. And I told her that I was going to talk to you. And we were talking about like how some languages you can sort of feel like you understand it, even though you don't literally understand it. And that was the case with me and Portuguese, because apparently Portuguese, I guess my parents are from Southern Italy and there's no connection.
No connection at all.
I know of. And yet when I hear Portuguese, there's a lot of like sh and ch sounds that my family speak.
Oh, really?
So anytime I watch a movie or something and it's in Portuguese, it just feels like I should know every word. It almost feels like I understand this. I'm fluent in this, but I'm not.
You know what happens for me when I go to Italy is I start understanding certain parts because it sounds just like Spanish. Yeah. And then the next phrase is completely just, what was that all about, right? So I try to just link in between the phrases that I connect to and I can relate to. And then I go, I think they meant to do this or meant to do that, but I can tell you more stories and we don't have time, but it was hilarious one time.
We have so many stories. Many stories.
Yeah.
I don't even know where to begin. Anyway.
All right.
That's the episode. We're out.
That's it. We're done.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love it. Great.
Perfect.
We talk about nicknames. Speaking of Rafael Lopez, talk about nicknames in Mexico and the relationship to the similarities to Italy as well. There you go. We're done.
We could also talk about children's publishing, and you've had a pretty roundabout entree into that industry, wouldn't you say?
This is weird. Yeah. I think it was, and I was actually really hesitant to do it the first time because they called me out of the blue, and I never. My intention was never to become a children's book illustrator at the time. I wanted to be more of a conceptual, editorial illustrator.
Right.
And then the call came and I picked it up and they said, like, your work is perfect. We're a little editorial house here in northern Arizona. Would you be interested in doing this work about the life of Celia Cruz, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not, I'm not interested. I'm scared to death to do like a sequence of things. I wouldn't even know how to develop a Celia character that it goes from little Celia to middle age to old age.
And at the time you were working on like more like Mexican iconography, and skulls and flames and things.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what they liked. And they said, but I think that your style could really blend so well to our story. So they called me like 3 or 4 times trying to convince me. And they were, they didn't have the budget of bigger houses. But I thought after about a month of them calling, I go, what the heck, let's just give it a shot. And then it won an award, right? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be pretty easy. Little did I know at the time, I was like completely an ignorant illustrator, new to the media of children's books, and then that's it. It just took off from there. Just trying to have a good time.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Must have been about 1994, maybe 94.
Okay.
So what's that? Almost 30 years? Over 30 years,
dude. 32.
32. Oh my gosh.
As of this recording, obviously. And before that, you were studying architecture for a little bit because your parents are architects.
Well, yeah. I've always considered myself like an architect wannabe. But at the time I was under, were you really? I was under the impression that you needed to be really good at math, because everybody says, no, man, you got to take calculus and all that. And I was like, oh my, I never, ever passed that class.
Also out on that.
Except, I passed the class simply because the guy next to me was a genius and my eyes were able to like roll to the left and see what he was answering. And I go, there you go. Okay, that's the right answer.
Hey, man. Sounds smart to me.
That's it. That's the only way I passed that class. But I thought there's no way I could become an architect. There's too much numbers involved. And little did I know that you don't have to be a genius in math to become an architect. But it was too late. My parents geared me more toward just go do art.
Right.
And that's what I did.
From what I understand, it sounded as if once that first call came from the children's publisher over in were they based out of San Diego, weren't they?
No, actually, they were in Northern California, and I think their name was Northern Arizona, and the name was Luna Rising, I believe.
Not familiar with them.
Yeah, one of the editors eventually became a friend, and we did a book later on called Maybe Something Beautiful, which became like a favorite for many people, because it was based on what we were doing here in San Diego, murals with the community.
Right.
So her name is Teresa Howell. So she's the one that was on the phone listening to all my complaints, going like, nah, I can't do this. I'm not good enough for sequences, blah, blah. And she's like, no, I think you can do it. We can try it. She was very patient. But it was in Northern California. And eventually I think they folded or they were bought out by someone else. But what I loved about the fact that they were small is that because they were small and the budget was, not the budgets that you get now, they give you freedom. It says, we may not pay you enough, but hey, just go crazy with your flames and your Mexican and the stuff, okay? We don't care, man.
Right.
So I felt like that was one of the books that gave me the most freedom ever, as you get a bigger budget involved and bigger names that you were working and collaborated with, then there's a little more control over the direction of things, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure that when you did the Sotomayor book, I'm sure there was a few extra opinions in that one than there was.
Absolutely. There's always the team Sotomayor, right? That you need to go through. But I mean, she's delightful. I'm glad to, I'm fortunate to feel like she's a dear friend. And every time I'm with her, we have such a great time and we chat in Spanish. She has her Puerto Rican accent. I bring in my Mexican accent and we have a great time. So yeah, it's fun.
So that first book is happening. It's not like you go, oh, all right, I'm in, and you forego all other things. And you're doing your mural project in San Diego, which from that book was based off of. And you're also kind of working part-time as a designer. You're doing other things. But how long did it take after that first book to turn your full attention over into children's publishing?
Well, did you get all this information from like the FBI? You know a lot about me already. That's amazing.
I do. I have my ways.
You do some research. You have your secret ways.
I have my ways. Raul. Raphael. I'm just kidding. I'm deleting my notes.
Yeah, there you go. This is all going to be like edited, right? So I go back to the fact that when I graduated from Art Center, in Pasadena, many of my friends already had like a very solid style, and I didn't. I always thought that I was really good at doing conceptual, but I was really good at doing photorealism, and I could do this and that, and I had so many things that my brain wasn't ready to just clinch to one style and develop it. And I was feeling a little frustrated because I didn't have a style and my friends did, and they were getting more hired and people put the fear in you. It was like, you got to have a style, man. You're good at many things, but, they don't know what you're going to turn out. It's like, well, they're absolutely right. But I was being more inspired by the artists in Europe that they were doing different things, right? There was this illustrator that was doing also interior design for like cafes in Barcelona, and he was doing graphic design. I'm like, what? Why do I have to just stick to one style? So specific to one style. One thing that I did at the time, Giuseppe, was I said, okay, I'm going to create different styles. This is going to be a style for my murals. I'm going to do a totally different thing, more graphically, because I have a little bit of a background in graphic design. And then I'm going to do my editorial work, which is going to be very Mexican and very ethnic. And then I'll do my children's book illustrations that eventually evolved from being more Latino. It started to become more of I love mid-century. So I love people like Mary Blair, and I love people like Alice and Martin Provensen, at the time. I was like, oh my God, this is so mid-century, so cool.
Yeah,
Charley Harper, right?
Oh, for sure. You got a J.P. Miller vibe too. Are you familiar with his work?
Oh, totally. So, all of a sudden, everything started evolving based and inspired by the things that I saw from their work they did in the past. And I thought, I can apply a little bit of both, and then you start finding your style. Things just started they started giving me calls, like, hey, we really like what you did with your first book, My Name is Ellie. And so I think one of the following was there's my smacking of my lips. One of the first one was a guide to California. And I think this is where I started bringing my editorial training from school, because I thought, okay, I'm not going to do a book that has already been done. Another book where it really describes perfectly what every place in California that we're going to feature look like, right? I said, why don't I try to portray what a kid would remember from those places instead? And then that sort of like began the whole career of like, every time they send me a manuscript, I wanted that manuscript to be more poetic, because it allowed for more opportunities for me to say, wow, where can I take this? How can I create an opportunity for teachers and librarians and kids to have a dialogue about this? What does this symbolism mean? Why did Rafael put this in this? Why did he put a ruler in this trunk of this tree? Right. And why is that thing floating over there? And why does that bird has human legs? It's like, oh, because it's a dream. She's dreaming right now. She's dreaming of becoming something else. So that, I think, is something that I always present in the very beginning. I always tell them, I'm going to start really way up here with my concepts. And of course, I'm going to make bullets so you know why I'm doing this. And you bring me down. Like I'm a kite up there with some crazy ideas, and some of them don't make any sense, or they're a little too far out there. Bring me down to a level where you feel comfortable. And I think that's a lot more fun for me, because I know that I've already warned them that I'm going to be very conceptual with my solutions, rather than being afraid of losing the job, right? And go, okay, man, I got to go so safe on this. You start in the muck, and then it's really hard to pull yourself out of there, man. It's like trying to pull out a boot out of the muck, right? It takes a while to do it.
Yep.
I tell that to students. Every time I speak to students, I said, do that. It helps so much better when you start crazy and then they bring you down to a comfort zone versus pulling yourself up.
Yeah, I would say so. When I was an art director, one of the top 3 notes I often shared involved, consistency was the number one note, 100%. Right. Most of my time was spent telling illustrators to be more consistent with, like, Johnny has 3 buttons on page 5. He needs to have 3 buttons on page 8, stuff like that. Yes. Oh my God. Anyway, PTSD on that. Anyway, so
there you go. All right,
but the other
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Okay.
In the top 3, I would say, is getting the illustrator to like let go and to give us something more than just like, here is the text, and I drew to the text.
Verbatim. Yeah. I just illustrated the words. Yeah. These are the words I see. There it is.
And it wasn't like literally give us more work than we're paying for. It's think about this more. Don't just give us what you think we want to see. Give us what you want to see. And then we'll tell you if we like it. And if we like it, guess what? Everybody wins. If we don't like it, then we'll make adjustments, but it'll still be part of what you want to see plus part of what we want to see.
Absolutely. And you know what? I love collaborating. I love that. I remember how many of my friends eventually turned out to be now, they're just fine art painters. They just gave up that whole like back and forth revisions and all that. And they're like, forget it. I just want to do my work, what I love to do. Yeah. But I get the feeling that because like you said, Giuseppe, I like collaborating, but at the same time, I like to see what I want to see in my books, right? So I try really, really hard to make those bullet points. In the beginning, I just showed it. And so this is what happened when I was younger in the whole medium, right? I wanted to impress them that I could think of so many ideas. Bad move, right? Because you go, okay, I have my super favorite and then my lesser favorite and then the mediocre one, and I have the ones that are just totally crap. But I'm going to send them all because I want to impress them that I came up with 20 ideas. Nope. What do they choose most of the time? The worst, right?
Of course.
Because it's the safest. And then I thought, why did I do that? That's the stupidest mistake I could have done. So I decided that I needed to edit my choices to my 1 or 2 favorites and then make the points and just say, write down why you came up with this. And, 7 or 8 out of 10 times they go with it because they see why you came up with that solution visually. At least it works for me,
Yeah. I mentor illustrators every day, helping them find their artistic grooves, improve their portfolios, game plan their career goals. And color is often a central topic of discussion, specifically their struggle with it. How do you know what color to use? Questions like that. You've talked about color as emotional. I would describe your color usage as fearless. Now, I don't know, you tell me, maybe you're scared to death of color. I don't know, but it appears fearless at any rate. How do you approach color? If color is a language, which I believe it is, how do you know when you've found the words, so to speak?
Oh, that's a great question. And you know what? It's interesting that you tell me about color, because when I speak to other artists and young artists especially, the biggest challenge they run into is color, controlling color, right? 100%. How do you make something cool? And then sometimes you look at it and you go, oh my God, that's all over the place, right? And it doesn't have some kind of a sequence or anything. So for me, color obviously is a way to project a feeling, to express something. Blue could be sadness or tranquility, where red could be fury or happiness or yellows. You know what I mean, right? And so part of the fact is that part of the fact, is that in English? Did you say that? No.
It made sense.
It made sense, right? Okay. Part of it is that coming from Mexico, we Mexicans use color everywhere to express that feeling. Right. You see it at the parties and the papel picado. You go to the market, and if you're not wearing any like sunshades, you may have some retina damage there. Because the textiles and the fruit, everything is so vibrant. So I think it just comes embedded into my DNA that I grew up surrounded by color. There was never any fear of color. I saw architects in Mexico that were using like that rosa mexicano, that vibrant pink in there. And then I remember someone actually asking them, they said, what happened when the pink fades and the sun beats it down to like a little pastel-y pink? The guy answered, he goes, we just paint it again. We just repaint it. No big deal.
Yep.
So I think that it just comes from my past. I think it just came out very naturally. But one thing that I tell students or young artists when they ask me that question, like, how do you control, the direction of color? I said, start with the biggest area of your illustration. What is the biggest area? And then once you select that color on your biggest area, it's easier to start choosing the smaller areas that go with it,
Exactly.
And then start from big. Don't start from small to big, because that's going to be very, very counterproductive, I think, in my case. So, yeah. So what do you think? That's a good idea, right? From big to small. And 100%. Then, of course, think about the feelings you want to represent, So I connect culturally to my background, where certain colors represent certain feelings. And I just put them in there. And if people see it, it's great. I'll give you a perfect example. I remember when I spoke to, for the first time with Justice Sotomayor. I almost said Sonia, and they're going to go, oh my God, Justice Sotomayor. And we were sitting in the green room. We're about to...
Only her hairstylist can call her
That's
Sonia.
Exactly. Yes, that's right. And Justice Sotomayor, I asked her, I said, how did you choose me? I'm just curious, because I'm sure they presented you a bunch of different portfolios. He goes, I chose you, Rafael. I love how she pauses too. It's very cool. Says, I chose you because I love your colors. And I thought, wow, there you go. Okay. So people do connect, to my colors. And that's
was
great.
That book after the Obama stamp or before?
Yes. The Obama stamp was done for the first 2008 campaign. Okay. And it was just out of the blue. I mean, we just did the painting because at the point they didn't select, obviously, which at the time was our favorite, Hillary Clinton. And then everybody's looking around going like, who's Senator Obama? I'm like, oh my God. Nobody knew him at the time, right? Except in Chicago, I guess. So we thought, we need to have some Latino connection to Obama. And then that's when we decided to create the illustration. And then eventually they got a hold of it because we did some printing with local friends here in San Diego. We printed it out, we sent it out, and they got a hand on one of the posters, and they gave me a call and they said, hey, how would you like this to be one of the official posters for the Obama campaign of 2008? And I just couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke, right? So that triggered a lot of new opportunities for me too, because I do portraits too now. One of my clients is the Smithsonian, the Latino section of the Smithsonian, and I've done like 57 portraits for them. It was a great project. So, you never know. You take an opportunity out of the blue sometimes, and you never know where it's going to take you. But take him. If it feels right, go for it. You never know what's ahead.
Are you the kind of artist that looks back at all and goes, wait, well, let me sit and reflect on this for a minute, because it's a lot of work and you've earned a lot of accolades? Are you the kind of person who just says, you know what, I'm not nearly done, so I'm going to keep going. I'll look back at some point, but not now.
That's where I feel I am. And the second choice, I never really look back until a friend or Candace, my wife, tells me, look how much you've done. But it's mostly when she says, look, check it out, man. Yeah. So I never do. I feel very fortunate that I think I chose something, even if it was much later that I just realized this. I chose something that I love so much to the point where I don't think I'll ever retire. And one day they're just going to find me dead in the studio and go, oh my gosh, I think he's dead. He's not breathing. But I never consider the word or the concept of retirement because I would get so bored. Giuseppe, I love to create every morning, do something, even if it's just like with my pencil or something quick. But I'm always thinking about ideas. I see things around when I go to. And I'm not necessarily looking at art. Sometimes it's just listening to music, or I see graffiti on the wall, and I go, that thing looks so cool upside down. That would be great to add something like that in my new book. So my mind is always racing all the time. To the point where people sometimes I'm talking to me and I go. I'm just nodding. They go, you're not listening, right? I go, oh, what was that again? So I think that there's a lot of stuff that I haven't finished yet that I'd still love to do. I would love to continue to work on children's book. I'd continue to experiment with new ideas. I mean, I look back sometimes on my book and I go, they don't look necessarily from the same artist. And people say, what are you crazy? It looks like a Rafael López. I go, nah. There's some people that are consistently like all the time. They look like Jon Klassen, or Christian Robinson.
Yeah.
In my case, I do a little more of experimentation. I go, maybe I'm going to include this photo. I'm going to change the palette. I'm going to do something. Yeah. Thankfully, I think that I hope I have more in my future, more fun projects. And I look forward to them and see more challenge. I love the challenge of something new and different.
Yeah. I don't know if I can say the same. I don't know why. It's not like I'm anywhere near retirement age, like not even close. But for some reason, I've been thinking a lot about it more of late, and I don't know where that's coming from. I need to do some more reflection on that. Maybe talk to my therapist. I don't have a therapist. Okay. But
if it's good, pass me the name and the information.
Really.
It might be tomorrow, maybe. You never know.
It's called Junk Food and Video Games. That's what my therapist is called.
I heard that name before. It's good references.
Oh my God. Yeah. Rafael, I have not eaten junk food in a week. I'm on a no junk food until May. So it's a 60-day challenge of zero junk, like zero, no exceptions, not even a lozenge.
Oh my! Are you having withdrawals? Syndrome?
I don't know what I'm having because I'm sad.
Yeah. Okay.
Not emotionally, just sad in that I can't. Oh, and the other thing too is I stopped by my mother's house yesterday, and she, of course, gave me about several tons of homemade cookies.
Oh, of course, because you never looked healthy enough, right? That's what moms do. You look too skinny. Mom, I'm almost 200 pounds. What are you talking about?
My problem isn't eating it. My problem is overeating and choosing the wrong things to eat. So I'm going on a cold turkey, zero junk food. And where am I going with this? Oh, so it's about the amount of work that you've done. This is related, guys. Trust me, I'm going to dovetail my junk food addiction.
I love how you're related to junk food. That's great.
Well, it's about making a decision and saying, I'm doing this. This is happening.
Yeah.
I mean, is that how you've approached your career? I'm doing this. It's happening.
Yeah.
There is no what if
scenario. There were some what ifs. Sometimes I loved I love documentaries. I thought, well, it would have been great if I study cinematography or, sometimes I love photography too. God, it'd be great to have this cool camera and I wanted to be like the guy that goes into the field and spends 6 months trying to catch the little mouse jumping in front and grabbing something. And then you go, God. Oh my God, that would be so cool. But at the same time, it's like, you have to have such patience and, endurance to survive, sub-zero temperatures.
So my childhood was spent watching Wild America.
I remember Wild America. I remember that guy. Marty,
exactly.
Yeah, he was one of the first one that actually was taking some cool shots.
Oh, God.
You can't do that. I mean, you see his work now; it looks so 80s and 90s.
I don't want to. It's in my memory, and it's pristine. It's underneath a giant glass case, like in a museum. I don't want to break it. I'm not watching it, and I have thought about it.
Yeah,
it was one of my favorite shows as a kid. But
absolutely, I remember with his beard, and he was mostly doing everything in Colorado, mostly in the bears and the beavers and all that. And he had that really nice voice and all that stuff.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, nobody beats the voice of what's the gentleman that is his brother is an actor. He talks like this. It's a British guy, and he's the guy that I love watching now. He does a bunch of different. But anyways, it'll come to me eventually.
Okay.
It's Edinburgh. There you go. That's it. That's his last name, right? I don't know.
I don't know who you're talking about.
The guy that talks like this. It's a beautiful. You don't remember that guy? No. Okay.
No.
That's just my this is another thing.
I have homework to do.
Yeah. I'm not a good voice person, so there you go. Okay.
I mean, you sounded convincing.
A little bit convincing. There you go. Yeah.
You might be talking to the wrong guy because I'm not a big. I'm not a big like. Oh, I'm familiar with that actor guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. My son really enjoys it when I do it, so that's why I got the confidence. But now it's going to be publicly, and it's like, oh my god.
Oh, Rafael, that's my thing. Like my kids always cringe at my jokes, but then they always laugh, and they always tell me that I'm a bad joke person or whatever. Yeah. And I just like, well, why do you guys laugh? And then if it's so bad, why are you guys literally peeing yourself laughing?
Because you made me believe that I was really good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I told it at a party and nobody laughed. Guys, because we love you, Dad. Oh, that's it. Okay.
The other day, this is a quick true story. We discovered we lived in this town where I live for a couple of years, and we never knew that they had this like very small sort of on the second floor, almost like an office building, speakeasy where they do bands and they do poetry jams and things like that. Mm-hmm. It's a nonprofit, so we went and saw a Pearl Jam cover band on Friday night. My wife and I. Wow. We wore black and I wore a plaid and tied it around my waist, and it was fun. Relived the '90s a little bit. Mm. But they were talking about they do like open mic nights and things like that. So we were having dinner, and it was me, my wife, and my son. He's 18, and I said, "Gosh, I think I might want to do open mic night." And the two of them turned to me and said, what are you going to do? And I said, 5 minutes of comedy.
Did they give you that look like, you're kidding me? Right?
Well, my wife gave me that look of like cringy, like her face just scrunched up into like a little ball.
Remind me not to come that night, right?
Really?
Yeah. You're coming along, bro.
My son is like, forget it. Like, no way.
Yeah.
And he said, what would you even talk about? What would your jokes be even about? And I just said, like life goings on. And that's all I said. And they both peed themselves. Like, they were both laughing. And I said, there you go. I was like, various goings on. So anyway.
Well, you got to try. Now you got to go. You got to go.
I kind of do. I mean, I don't know. It's a sort of a secret thing. Like, not photography and not nature documentary, but I kind of want to do a 5-minute open mic night.
That should be a children's book. Just try. Oh, wait a minute. That's something that I'm working on.
Write it down.
Just try.
Write it down. This podcast is produced by the Illustration Department, a global leader in online education for illustrators. Visit illustrationdept.com for offerings like mentorships and portfolio reviews, testimonials, our alumni showcase, our best-selling Substack, and more. That's illustrationdept.com. And now, back to our conversation. Okay, so your mind is running a mile a minute. Obviously, this episode, I mean, we've only been talking for 30 minutes, and I think between the two of us, we've rattled off about,
And we haven't even covered what we were supposed to cover, right?
I literally haven't.
We are
I've cut
half an hour into the whole interview, and there's
seriously, like 2 questions of my multi-question list here. But it doesn't sound like you're the kind of person who does this, but I'll bring it up anyway. Maybe it is. You have said that style does come from life experience, not from just chasing a trend.
Right.
Or choosing something that you think other people are going to like, whatever. Of course, you're right. Was there ever a moment in your career where you either felt stuck stylistically or on the positive side, you felt like, I think I found my groove? And if that's whichever direction you want to take that, why and how did you get out of it?
So I think that I made the decision that many young artists, or maybe not many, but at least I did. So I'm going to just speak about myself. Okay. Of looking at people that were pretty hot at the time. This is in the mid 80s, and I go, "Ooh, these guys are busy. Maybe I should do something similar to them." So I fell into the trap of like following a trend, right? And then I don't know who said this to me. I don't know if it was a teacher or I think it was a teacher that said. And they weren't criticizing me. They were just making this comment, but I applied it to my moment in life. And I thought, oh, wow, I'll never forget this. He goes, every time you choose to follow a style that is really hot at the moment, by the time you master that style, that looks just like that artist, they're already on their way back, man. You're never going to be able to catch up with them. They're going to run circles around you. And that stuck with me forever, and I thought, I think that what I do now is like, because I see a lot of young artists, especially with like the Japanese style. What do you call that style? It's very like a
Manga?
cartoony. Yeah,
Manga?
manga. So I see when they show me their work, so many of them look like that manga thing, and I go, you know what? It's so cool that you are inspired by this because it's beautiful. It's really cool. But now inject some of your experience. Make it your unique style. Even if it's influenced by manga, why don't you go and try to inject some of who you are, and that's what's going to separate you from everyone else. So I think that's something that I did inadvertently. I just started like looking at things like, wait a minute, I'm from Mexico. There's textures, there's color, there's all this cool imagery, and there's a lot of that symbolism and surrealism. And why not bring it in? And that's when I inadvertently started to leave that trend of trying to follow those hot styles that some people were doing ahead of me, because I was never going to catch up with them. And then inadvertently, I developed a style that I didn't even notice. I was just doing the stuff that felt right. And then you look back and you go, oh, yeah, okay, I can see a little bit of a trend here, but I never really said it. I never sat down and said, okay, today you're going to do something that is a Rafael Lopez,
Right.
I just had fun at the moment with what felt right.
Yeah, I think illustrators attribute too much of their identity to the work. And I know that sounds a little counterintuitive, like, that's what you want, right? You want your work to be a reflection of who you are. Yes, but not so much so that literally every line you put down, every color you choose, you're questioning it and questioning it and questioning it.
That would be so tiring, It's
very tiring.
Yeah, it would be just too much for the brain.
Yeah.
The brain is a terrible thing to waste.
The brain?
So,
yeah, I was going to say, what? That's the title of this episode.
That's
the
it.
Brain is a terrible thing.
It's a terrible thing, yeah.
I've been talking about this a lot with illustrators lately that I mentor about trying to if you're worried about style, if you feel stuck on style, then turn your attention over to like doing some exercises in which the last thing on your mind is style. All you are doing is quite literally experimenting.
Absolutely.
Or if you want to call it playing, call it playing.
And they turn out to be your biggest and the strongest pieces on your portfolio.
Every time.
Every time. People go,
but it's hard to get to that place.
Exactly. And how do you get to that point when you're going to be collaborating with with a company or a group of people, right? How can I get that freshness and that confidence in my work? And once in a while you get that lucky break when people do understand what you do, and then you do it. But I agree with you. I think experimenting is a fresh break away from being so stuck on a style and forcing yourself to create a style. Just have fun.
Right.
Get up one morning and just do something you've never tried before.
Which sounds great, but here's the problem. You can't do it for like 2 weeks and go, okay, I did it.
Yeah.
And this is a years-long exploration.
Absolutely.
And active discovery.
Yeah. I mean, you need to have if there's a will, there's a way. If you're not really, you don't have the momentum to do it and the ganas, like we say in the Espanol, it's going to be hard, man, because, I think one of the biggest things being an artist and a self-employed person and having a studio, and it's like going to the gym, right? If you work out at home, how long is that going to last? Like a week? You need to go to the gym where there's other people working out and you want to look like them. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. Same thing happens in an office environment, right? You see other people designing and doing things. You see all these computers with all these gorgeous visuals in them. You go, I got to go back to my office and do the same thing. So you close the door and then you're doing it. But when you're here with four walls, and then you go, oh my, this discipline was the hardest thing for me. I always found an excuse not to start something because I was afraid. So it was like, okay, what do I do? There's a good movie in the movie theater and I'm going to just go check it out. Or, you know what, I'm going to read the paper a little longer. Or, you know what, I'm just going to have some coffee today and order something I never ordered at my favorite restaurant. There was always an excuse to leave everything to the very end. And then you said, I have 2 days to do this. And then you just zoom in and your brain is just like so concentrated on finishing something. And I go, I'm not going to last this way. I need to find that discipline to say, today I'm going to sit down and I'm going to create something new, something different. Or, I think it takes discipline and otherwise it's difficult. I hear you.
Which is this topic comes up a lot. It's a common theme in this podcast. And I think everyone listening knows that. It's just so freaking difficult. Right. And it's good to hear from people who on the outside looking in appear to be incredibly busy and incredibly successful and in demand and all these things, and hearing them say what you just said. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's hard for me too.
I know.
The discipline, especially. I mean, this morning, going back to like personal story time here, I am, in addition to not eating junk food anymore until May, I am also getting back on the running horse. I used to run every day, and then I fell off the horse because it's so freaking cold, and now it's not. So
Where do you
I'm
live?
getting back on.
Exactly. I mean,
Outside of Philly.
Okay, got it. How's the weather, by the way? It's horrible, right now? Or no?
Oh, it sucks. I hate it. I'm out. I'm done. Like, thank you. You won, Winter.
Yeah,
you won.
okay, you won. That's it. I'm done. Okay, I'll stay indoors.
Christ. Anyway, pardon my language. But here's the thing. I don't want to run. I hate running. I've hated running. I've been running for many, many years, since 2018.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And hate every freaking step of it, and still do. Never got used to it, and never will. But my thing in the morning is like, I just ask myself, like, well, do I really want, if I'm being honest with you and the listener, do I want to look fit on the beach this summer or not?
Right.
Stop fucking around and go on a run. Yeah. And that's how I sort of get myself into the. And I'm not saying that illustrators have to do that, like stop fucking around and draw something, but
right.
kind of stop fucking around and draw something.
Yeah, exactly. I think that took forever for me. It took me at least 5 to 7 years to finally find the rhythm of discipline. But believe me, I mean, so it's still once in a while, when you're not so sure about the direction that a project is going to take, you try not to address it right away. You're like, I'll just tell them that I'm just doing mental games and they call you, and they're like, how's it going? Oh, I'm working on it. Mentally, I'm working on it. Even though I'm in the beach, just reading whatever, I'm not doing anything, but my brain is working. I know it's working. I haven't talked to my brain in a while, but I know it's working on this.
It's up there doing some work.
Doing something somewhere in the deep, deep recesses of my brain or something. And then boom, you go, I had no choice. I have to do this. And you know what? Sometimes I realize that, you have the two options, right? There's one where you get this clear idea of what you want to create. And you go, oh my God, this is great. I know exactly what I want to do. And others where you have no clue where this is going to go. And then you put it in the back of your head forever. One day I just said, force yourself to sit down and start doodling. Just doodle whatever, even if it's the most horrible thing, doodle. And then after a couple of hours or a couple of days, something pops in there and you go, I never thought of this. I mean, why didn't I think of this like a month ago? When I was supposed to turn in the first sketches, right? So it never fails that even in the most challenging projects, if you start doodling, eventually the brain kicks into something, and then you go, "Whoa, I didn't see that coming."
Yeah,
at least that has happened to me many times.
Yeah. This all sounds fun and good, and
here comes the sad part.
Here comes the sad part.
Everybody grab a Kleenex. Here comes the bad one. Yeah.
As you know, there are lots. There's just, it seems like every morning there's a new atrocity.
Yes.
And then ask questions like, what do I do about this? What can I do about fill in the blank? Anyway, I don't want to get into specifics because then I'll get upset and just now we'll start yelling at people. But particularly some voters. Anyway, moving on. Over the last handful of episodes, one of the questions that I've been asking folks is like, in light of a fucking weary world, pardon my language, what can we do as artists? What good deed can we do, to quote Willy Wonka? What can we do? That's part one of the question. Part two of the question is, why should we do it?
Right.
And what would you recommend to artists who feel really stuck about this?
Another great question, though. What I've done is I consider myself, because my work gets to be seen by many people, not just in the US, but, there's people in Europe or here or there. And I'm always, of course, we're also human beings connected to what's happening in the world. I mean, I read every morning, CBS, PBS, ABC, NBC, whatever,
Yeah.
You read what's going on and you're aware of what's happening. And you think, what can I do as an artist, that makes me feel that I'm worthy of something, And so one of the things is, first of all, I'm Latino, right? I was born in Mexico. And I noticed that a lot of the earlier books, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, were mostly not representing many minorities, right? So I thought, wait a minute, I want to work with people and stories and manuscripts that are trying to portray people that have never been covered, though. So I'm going to be very selective about the books and the stories and the authors that I work with, because I want to see myself there. I want to have that personal connection to being from another country, from speaking in another language and moving into a world and a new country where I couldn't barely say anything, and feeling unseen, and not noticed. And this is just like a personal thing. You can choose whatever you want to do, but it's something that you have to do beyond the studio, the four walls in the studio. The community murals, that I started doing 20 years ago was the same thing. Yeah. I needed to see more community, and I lived in downtown San Diego, where everybody was just, it was a sketchy area where I bought and purchased my warehouse. And then no one would come out. Everybody would just go close their doors like, no way, man, I'm not going out. There's a lot of like illegal stuff going on, a lot of drug dealing going on. And then I thought, wait a minute, why are we living so afraid when we can come out and paint something together and gather the community, and then we can share our differences and show people, that what makes us so special, So we would paint, we would bring music, we would bring anything, they'll bring food that are from their own culture. And we'd had such a great time. And I felt like, okay, this feels good. This is beyond making money for a company that wants to sell their product, to make more money, Right, now I'm being the voice of the voiceless in many ways with my books or my illustrations. And I'm bringing I'm doing my best effort to bring the community together by presenting this work that we can all do together, and then maybe create friendships and connections that were not existent. So there's so many ways where you can do something for the community, for your world, for your wherever you live, your neighborhood or whatever. It doesn't have to be something amazingly that is going to win some award and a recognition, But I think you need to go to bed sometimes and say, you know what? I think I felt like my voice and my what I do, or my talent, whatever you want to call it, could be applied in different ways. And today I apply it to the community, and that feels really good.
That's my answer. Is start local.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you think, if it's like you versus the world,
the universe,
then you're just,
it's too overwhelming.
Not going anywhere.
Way too overwhelming.
Completely overwhelming.
Absolutely.
I guess what I'm trying to say is like, my answer is like, turn your attention to a much smaller circle.
Absolutely.
And then you can grow from there. You can build from that, but start small and go from there.
Right.
It could be something as simple as like, for example, here's an example. I might actually do this. As you were explaining that, I was thinking like, oh, that might be a good idea. In my town, we have a brand new bookstore just opened up. Very exciting. And also, just side note,
just like a local
independent bookstore.
Independent bookstore. Okay.
Yeah, local independent bookstore just opened up. Very small space, and they have a little space in the back where all the children's books are. But it's big enough that you could have like a little circle of chairs of maybe 8 to 10.
That's awesome.
So I'm thinking like, I'm going to reach out to the local illustration community, and if maybe we can do like a once a month sit down at this bookstore.
That's awesome.
And have a little, I don't know, a little jibber jabber. Who knows what the hell we're going to talk about?
Right,
but something where you can like
just let
help
it flow.
possibly, right. Just anything. I mean, community, absolutely. I think, is the answer, is what I'm trying to get at here.
I think that's. I mean, it happens with my murals. I wanted to just clean my neighborhood here locally in San Diego. So I started with just like my own building. My own building needed some help outside because it's an old warehouse. And then people were just walking by and going like, what are you doing? Like, just painting a mural. You want to help out? Yeah, sure. And, coming in. And then I thought, this is great. Why don't we bring more people? So after like 7 or 8 murals that we created in San Diego, it just grew. It started very local, very just right here in the East Village. And then before you know it, they're calling you from Colorado and from Chicago and from Seattle. And then it just expands because it's a similar thing, right? People see what you've done, and then you go, right, I never dreamed that I was going to be painting murals in other cities around the U.S., right? It was never my intention. My intention was just to clean my community and bring the neighbors out so we get to know each other. And we feel the pride of working on something together and making it feel like there's life in this community. It's not dead. These closed doors, there's people behind those closed doors and those shutter windows, that we just need to bring them out. So you never know where it's going to end up, but start locally and small. Yeah, absolutely.
It seems as if, I think maybe the overall like umbrella answer to all of this is like, as an artist, we have a certain responsibility. Our role as an artist within the community involves the community. Yeah. You can't just be an artist in isolation.
I'm going to
especially
agree with you.
in
Yeah.
heavier times.
Yeah. And, it's okay if you don't. If you want to just become
Sure.
an artist and do your thing, and, that's fine.
Yeah.
You're totally
Dude, my
entitled to
retirement
that.
plan is I'm
Absolutely.
unplugging from everything.
Right,
No one will
right.
ever see me again, and all I want to
Yeah.
do is draw and paint
That's
in
it.
private.
That's totally fine. But I encourage people that have already a voice that is being heard by many, maybe if not thousands, maybe sometimes even millions, you never know, right? I encourage those people to look for those opportunities where their voice could be heard. I mean, when I say voice, I mean your work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how can you inspire other generations? How can you inspire people that think differently? How can you inspire the people that felt voiceless? And so maybe part of the fact that I was Latino and I felt that need to be represented and be seen more.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the reasons that one of the forces that kept me going. It's like, I can do this with, even with my illustrations on healthcare, not only in education and children's book, but in other areas where Latinos are not represented the way I think they should. Mm-hmm. So that to me, it's a pretty good force and a good reason to be inspired. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, on that note, can you believe it's already been 50 minutes?
No way. That's amazing. Well, I've been having a good time. I didn't even drink my coffee. I had a coffee and it's all cold now. It's got a dead fly on it already. I don't know how that happened. There you go.
I've already had too much coffee. My doctor's going to kill me.
I don't know what killed the fly. If it was too much caffeine or just drowned. He didn't know how to swim. But we'll leave it there for a while. Poor thing.
Too many rejections from agents and decided, you know what, I'm ending it.
That's my metaphor right there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Let's move on from that. Is the actor Sean Connery?
Sean Connery? I don't know. You mean?
Yeah, the actor from earlier you were impersonating from Edinburgh.
Oh, you mean I don't know. I can't even do that. I was going to say something really bad, but no. I can't do.
Good morning, Miss Moneypenny.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Yeah, but I'm from Mexico, so I can't do that.
That's the first Sean Connery I've ever done. I'll work on it, but that was pretty good for a first shot.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Right.
Pretty good.
I'll take it.
Mine has a little bit of a Scottish Mexican accent. I think it's weird, really weird.
Scottish Mexican accent.
There you go.
Oh God, we have to.
Which
work
I never
on
heard
that.
before. I think I'm the first one that has done
saying.
that.
Yeah. All right.
How would that
You work
sound?
on
I
that.
wonder. Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
I'll work on my
I don't
Sean
know.
Connery.
It's good to not talking to you. I don't know how that Mexican Scottish. I don't know. That was my best try there. Yeah.
Dude, I'm trying to transition over to like a final comment. And I can't find the
You
window
brought the Sean
here.
Connery, man. That's your
sorry.
fault.
That was my bad. That's my bad. All right. So let's transition over to that.
All right.
I don't know how, but we'll just do it.
Okay.
So, remembering that we do have writers and illustrators and
So
muralists.
let's wrap it up in a very, I don't know, nice way that it's
very nice way.
Yeah. Don't want to
Yeah,
lose
of
any
course.
sleep tonight going like, I really blew it at the end there, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
Nah, you're fine.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I'm cutting it off. It's so sad having to cut it off like this.
You're going to
but
only
it's-
have like 3 minutes that are totally valuable. The rest is going to be like on the trash.
Exactly.
It's my shortest one ever.
I'm serious. We're going to talk about our names being pronounced, and then I'm going to cut it. And that's the episode.
That's it.
What would you say to writers, illustrators, muralists, any kind of artists? What would be one last piece of advice or word of wisdom or something you've learned over the years being in this industry?
Well, I mean, I can speak more from the visual artist's point of view because,
Go for it.
First of all, I'm the most frustrated writer you could ever find. I've been trying to come up with my own story, and I have a lot of people very kindly helping me out and very patient. And it's gone through like 5 or 6 different revisions, and it's not going anywhere yet. But I know I made a decision that I needed to write the story, and I'll try it. But sometimes the simpler stories are the hardest ones. They really are, right? So there's people that have the talent. They just go, oh, look, I just did 5 different stories while you were on the phone. I'm like, how did you do that? I've been doing this for 3 years. Can't come up with anything yet. But I think for artists, visual artists like illustrators or artists, it's just to just have fun. Just sit there and enjoy what you're doing and show us something that hasn't been seen yet, or try without forcing yourself and just going through the whole, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm really refreshing when I see a book that looks like something I've never seen before. I usually just end up buying it. Like, a lot of them are from South America's artists. A lot of them are from European artists. that their process of selecting pieces are different. Seems like their work is very experimental. I'm not saying more experimental than the US. I'm just saying differently. But I enjoy that. I love to see the phrase. I can see when someone is having a lot of fun on a book. You look at it and you go, wow, this is so refreshing, because it's going to remind me that I need to have that fun every time I work. Art's supposed to be fun. Just keep experimenting, keep having fun, see something from different eyes. I think that's just like a human thing, like an inventor, right? You want to come up with something that no one has ever seen or tasted or before. So just remember to have fun while we're working or coming up with a story. And you know what? Here's the other thing. I think that kids are super sophisticated. Their minds are very sophisticated, and they can deal with so many subjects, man. Every time I talk to them, I go, why are we not touching other subjects? I mean, are they taboo or what's going on here? So I think that sometimes we need to get away from that safety comfort zone of saying, for kids, we only do this, and I think that kids are ready to be challenged by something that new, like death. I just work on a book with Kevin Millard. I think it's called And They Walk On, and it's about when someone dies in the Native American tradition. So many of the Native American groups, they don't die. They just keep on walking, right? Mm-hmm. So, but death is not touched too often on children's books. There's a few books that talk about losing someone, a loved one in the family. And I remember when I decided to do it, because it was a challenge for me, I thought, this would be great. And I don't know where I was. I was making a presentation, and the kids asked me, he says, what are you working on? Like, what's your current project? And I said, all right, I need your vote on this. I said, guess what? I'm going to be working on a book that deals with death and losing someone that dies in your family. Do you think you would like a book like that? And they all went, yeah. And I went, okay, that's it. I'm going to work on it.
That's it.
I just got the vote from my audience, so have fun. Don't be afraid to try something different and new, challenging. Yeah, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself too. Because kids are ready to deal with so many things, so many topics. We just don't give them enough credit. So that's my last words.
To learn more about Rafael, visit rafaellopez.com. If you find value in this podcast, consider becoming a patron. In return, you can access bonus episodes, receive invitations to our Art Directors After Hours series, and get a 10% off discount code for all ID offerings. Become a patron by visiting patreon.com/illustrationdept. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.